to infinity and beyond.
What's up, everyone? It's Roger and James here from DisKingdom.com. In this episode, we're going to be talking about what Marvel, Disney, and Star Wars games we would like to be switched over to the Switch, or ported over. This is in line with, we've seen a lot of this. We're seeing a lot of games just being ported over, remasters. Some of them are just straight up ports, because by the looks of it, it looks like game companies are looking at the Switch and going, it's not taking a lot of work to move them on, and they want them on a Nintendo platform, because it essentially can do a lot of the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360 games. I think it can do even a lot of the PS4 games. It's just that there's that line just of where it can fall into. And so I was thinking of, like, I've seen quite a few things of like what games we want to be brought over. So now I know we are going to mention the Virtual Console, or what might be the Virtual Console, but I'm actually going to, for the sake of this one here, I'm actually going to disallow anything pre-PlayStation 3, because we're going to keep the Virtual Console separate from this, because that's, to me, slightly different if we're going to go. But if we're talking about games in like recent years, what things instantly jump out to you as being stuff that should be transferred over to the Switch?
Well, I think one of the gimmies in this case would probably be most of the Lego games. Whether we're talking Star Wars, Marvel Superheroes, Marvel Avengers, almost all of these games really do well in the portable environment, and this is the first time you can get the full console experience in a portable. This is the kind of thing, you've got your kids, you're on a road trip or whatever, you stick them in the back seat. Lego, that a Lego game is going to fit within their difficulty curve and keep them entertained with the humor that they build into them. So I think these would be good games, and I would be very surprised if some of these weren't on their way already. Some of the more newer ones.
Yeah, I mean, something like Force Awakens. I don't know about Marvel Avengers, because they got Marvel Lego Superheroes 2.
Right.
I mean, they did it recently with Harry Potter and even Lego City Undercover, where they brought them over. So Force Awakens, things like Indiana Jones, Clone Wars, things like that, Pirates of the Caribbean, I could see them being like digital only. The Warner Brothers are quite good at sliding them over, so I could quite easily see them slide into that one there. Other recent ports like the Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2 it should be very easy to port over. I mean, whether or not the market's there for that game, that would be a good choice. I can't see them doing Deadpool, but I don't think that would be quite. But Activision, no. There's a whole weird thing going on with Marvel games with, like, they've not done any backwards compatibility things with Xbox One. There's no games that you can bring over. They've ported a few, but they've not really gone down that line too much. Like Ultimate Alliance 1 and 2, Deadpool have all been remasters or reports, so that's different. I did wonder, do you think Star Wars Battlefront or is it the Switch not powerful? Because it's like, I know they're saying about it's not powerful enough for Battlefront 2, but like Battlefront, it was 2-3 years ago. Was it pushing the PlayStation 4 to its max? Could it handle it? I don't know.
I think if you downscaled it a little bit, it could probably handle it, but the question is, do you want it to?
Yeah.
Because it is a player versus player centric game. Not just centric, it is a player versus player game. The single player is not worth mentioning at all as an experience. So you'd have a very hard time convincing people to pick up the Switch version of a game that already has a sequel out on the current, that is improved from what we can see so far in every way over the original. Yeah. So they could. I suspect it could. They'd probably have to maybe make the textures not quite as nice. They'd have to take some of the shine off of it, but they could do it. But it wouldn't necessarily make that much financial stake.
No.
But maybe taking their other Star Wars games they could throw onto it. Both the Force Unleashed 1 and 2 would be good choices.
Yeah, they were like the top choice, really, because they feel like they could fit in quite naturally. Again, the trouble is with these reports and passovers is, if gamers have already played them, they don't offer. So they have to be priced accordingly. They have to be priced cheaply because of what they are, because they are just being ported over. But then you can't help but feel like game companies are maybe going, right, is this new Nintendo like platform Switch going to be something that's going to be around for years? Maybe when we get Switch 2 and Switch 3, are they all going to be backwards compatible and all this kind of thing? Because it's a PC infrastructure kind of thing. Of the amount of indies throwing their games out there and stuff like that. Force Unleashed 1 and 2 definitely feel like natural fits that could come over quite naturally. Even though I've already got the game on PC and Xbox One, it could work quite well. I think Star Wars isn't that weird bit because I think we didn't really have a lot of games for a while, so there was a lot of naff ones which aren't really worth the effort.
And by cutting out stuff from pre-PlayStation 3, I think you're cutting out a lot of the very good choices in there, such as like Knights of the Old Republic and stuff. But
I'm waiting for the Xbox One.
Xbox One, even an updated version for PC. I mean, it's already out on Steam and good old games and whatnot. But if they could do a remaster, it's been rumored, or a third one. Obviously, I've been playing The Old Republic a lot lately, so I'd love to see that again. But we're going off topic because that KOTOR 1 and 2 are off the table for this one. So, and that also obviously knocks off some of my favorites like X-Wing and TIE Fighter and stuff. Those aren't even...
I think the biggest problem with some of these are like licenses, like things like Iron Man 4, Captain America from the PS3 era. They haven't been transferred over. I don't think Marvel want them games out there because they're not maybe as good as Marvel games want nowadays.
I could see Captain America because that did all right. It was a dumbed down version of Batman Arkham Asylum, but even a dumbed down version of Batman is still a pretty fun game. So I could see them kind of going with that. Maybe some of the better reviewed Spider-Man games. I don't know which ones those are offhand. I think maybe Amazing Spider-Man 2.
Yeah.
Just no adjective, just Spider-Man 2. But that might have been PlayStation 2.
Yeah, actually, I mean, Amazing Spider-Man 2 on the PlayStation 4 was actually a pretty cool game. I do wonder if Sony might have got a lockdown on, like, exclusivity for Spider-Man video games, because, again, nothing's been re-released lately on that kind of... There's no remasters or anything like that, so who knows. Now, jumping over to the Disney side of things, the one that, having played a little bit of Epic Mickey 2 this past week, after it came backwards compatible, I actually think the Disney side of things is actually quite a big roster of games, actually, that I think could work very, very well, because there was a whole era where we had Bolt, Brave, Epic Mickey, we had Disney Universe, we had Lego, like we said, Lego Pirates of the Caribbean, and I think they are actually a natural fit for the Switch audience of being a bit younger, and how it works. There's a lot of those games that I think that are recently becoming backwards compatible on Xbox One. They've also been put onto the PlayStation Now. Things like Toy Story Mania, things like this, Toy Story 3. If they just went digital only, $15, $10, they've got to price them accordingly. I mean, it depends really on how much they could bring them over with, but we've got the upcoming Disneyland Connect and Rush remasters coming. So we know that they could do it. I mean, I still think Disney Afternoon Collection is kind of the basic version here to come over.
I also probably would go with Disney Universe. That was a very fun game, often overlooked, especially because it came out right around the same time as Disney Infinity, which overshadowed it. So that would be a fun one. And it again, fits into that core Nintendo audience that you're looking at. There were some racing games, Cars 2. I know Cars 3 hasn't done that well, but, if we're talking ports, the games are already made. Shouldn't be that hard to get them over there.
I think, the fact they put Cars 2 on Xbox One recently, but Cars 3 Driven to Win, still, I think, a very underrated game. I still had a lot of fun. I mean, I've put some serious hours into that game this summer, and I've actually... And I'm going to be honest, I am actually waiting. I mean, I've got it on Xbox, I've got it on PlayStation. If I see this in Argos in the UK on discount for like 20 quid, I'm going to probably pick it up on the Switch, because I actually think it'll actually be a good game for me for the Switch because of that, like the portable. Because Mario Kart's fun, but Cars is kind of a good little one as well for that one. But that's a side topic. So you mentioned it. You mentioned the Disney Infinity word. Let's bring over the gold editions from the Steam.
At least 3. Bring over Disney Infinity 3 Gold. And while we're at it,
a collection of all the playsets. Just put them all onto one. Just because I can't see how you've got to have that. You've got it on the PC where you got the menu switch. It feels so bad. I feel like there's these all these great little playsets that are going to get lost in time.
Oh yeah, and of course this goes back to one of the complaints we had about Disney Infinity all across the spectrum back when Disney Infinity 2 came out, was the playsets aren't compatible across the versions. There's no way they're going to go back and change the programming now, so they would really need to release Gold Edition for all three. But I think there's a market for it. Yet you're going to lose a lot of the toy box stuff because you can't do that. But the play sets were actually pretty dang fun. And then in 2 and 3, those additional like the Brave Forest Adventure and the defense games and whatnot, you could play those for a very long time. Just with whatever.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I just look at like Disney going around. You could put a collection out with all the play sets, the Toy Box Speedway, the Toy Box Takeover, the Attack of the Kill, and all those kinds. Take the toy box and just kind of go, no, you can't have this. We're not going to give it to you because it's confusing. You don't need it because you can't share it. But if you just gave us a menu at the front with the play sets, you can switch between the because you've already got the mechanism in place on the PC. So there can't be a lot of work needed for this. It's pretty much just going to be a menu system.
Well, it depends entirely on how much work would require in getting it from the PC architecture to the Nintendo Switch architecture.
I don't think it's a lot. But I also would love to see this brought to PlayStation 4, Xbox One. I think it's full. And I do you know what? I think this could happen in a year or two.
I think so, especially because, as we've said many times in the past, the Disney side of this triumvirate really has nothing going on. There's not any major titles in the future that we know about, and if we do learn about titles, they're probably going to be movie tie-ins, which means we'll find out about them like a month or two before they come out. There's no like Lego Disney Kingdoms that we're aware of. I mean, it's entirely possible that it's in the works, but I highly doubt it, although hey, you know what? Surprise us. Lego Disney Kingdoms. That'd be fun.
It's just this fact that we've got Rush, a Disney Pixar collection being released at the end of this month. It's like, why? We wouldn't have thought that game would have been one that would have been on the release schedule this year. So they are doing it.
They are, and they're looking at their back catalog. And honestly, those two games would be great on the Switch. Obviously, you've got to cut out all of the Kinect side, but let's be honest.
I think they're Microsoft exclusives. I think
they probably are.
Yeah.
And let's be fair. One of the major selling points of these new re-releases is the fact you don't need a Kinect for them because that's a big deal. Because the Kinect side is Let's just not talk about the Kinect. No. But yeah, there's other Disney. Yeah, that plain Fantasia, Disney Fantasia. But yeah, anyway, there are plenty of titles not exclusive to Microsoft or what have you that could totally fit. And actually, Fantasia, you'd have to do screen controls or something like, finger gestures or whatever would be perfectly fine. But speaking of gestures and screen controls, you've got a whole bunch of mobile games. Frozen Free Fall, the various Match 3 games, Zum Zum. I would stay away from like Disney Magic Kingdoms and games that require constant logging in. But these I've got 10 minutes to play. Disney Emoji Blitz would be a perfect one for a Switch.
I think back to like the Frozen Free Fall Snowball Fight, which they released on Xbox and consoles, and they did Marvel Puzzle Quest as well. I'd love to have some of these like portable. It's odd because the Switch is a bit of an odd one because so many of the game industry talk about it primarily as a handheld. They don't even view it as a docked. They don't even view it as a home console. They don't play it. They take it with them at the work. They play it. They play it on the ways to work. They play it on trips. They play it sat on the couch. They play it in bed. But I think for me, because I always have mine docked by 1 day a week, it's odd because to me it's a home console and it's one I can take with me, which is the way Nintendo want to sell it. But of course, I think everybody else is clotting onto it. No, it's a portable, which I can put on the big screen. And this is where I think, it does kind of slide. Nintendo are saying one thing, which I'm doing what they're supposed to be doing, but I think most people are looking at this as the Vita 3DS replacement.
And that's fine. I mean, you are allowed to play the console any way that you want. You can play it docked, you can play it portable, you can play it without ever removing it from the dock at all. I'm kind of a mix of the two, where most of the time I'm playing it on my TV at home, but having that option to take it with me fits my lifestyle perfectly. But yeah, I think you're right. Most people are viewing it as a souped-up 3DS, which is cool as long as games continue to run fine in portable mode. Like maybe the resolution's downscaled to 720 or whatever they need to do to make it run. That's fine. I just don't want it to become a portable only system where the developers are only viewing it as portable and the dock is just kind of a bonus on the side.
I think the trouble is as well is I think there's that whole thing of there was a big push for 4K and high images and stuff. It's like when it's in your hand and it's on a little screen, it never really, that doesn't come into effect. A 4K portable device doesn't quite need to be that high because you can't see it the same way. Playing them on the big screen, it's just this kind of thing of, as games more and more come over to it, it's definitely an interesting platform to come on. And I feel, we said like the virtual console is something that we're, in essence, we've talked about it before, and there are so many titles that they can bring back from the past, but there's also, I think, there's a massive range of games there, which the problem is, I think licensing has been the big issue with a lot of this stuff, and whether or not they think it's worth it. There are some indie games. Here's a prime example: Tron Run /R. It was an indie game, basically on PS4 and PX. One of my favorite games recently. That was a fantastic little game. And I can't help, but I don't know. There again, there might be. Well, if it's not sold enough, it's not worth porting. But that would be a good little tie-in thing, and definitely an era that I think I wouldn't at all be surprised if we see lots of ports of some of those old games coming over to there, because by the looks of the way that the indie companies and stuff are getting on it, if the indies are getting on it, and even like Rockstar and stuff are starting to do stuff like this, I would not be at all surprised if they can get some extra money out of a back catalogue, they will do. You know what, Disney, you need to remaster and re-release Star Wars 1313. That's what remaster. They didn't even got it out. No, if we convince them that it's a remaster, then maybe we'll get a better chance of getting that game out. I think it's going to be that new. A lot of the assets are being used for the new game that they're making already for that one. But we would love to know. Yeah, we would love to know what Disney games and Star Wars and Marvel games would you like to see ported over to the Nintendo Switch? Comment below and get in touch with us on that. As per usual, you can check us out over at DisKingdom.com. You can also find us on all the different social medias, etc. So be sure to like, follow, subscribe, etc. James, where can they find you? You can find me at HeroicLegacy.com. And on that note, guys, thank you very much for watching. See you guys soon. Later.